Okay, so starting over, I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome everyone to this live session. I'm Heather Burkhardt, and we're here to check in. It's early August and chat about seasonal practices that you might like to try as summer is winding down. Um, yes, it's true. All good things have to come to an end. If you're a fan of summer like I am, it's sad to see summer ending. Here in Wisconsin, it's been overcast and cloudy and gloomy and rainy. I would complain about that usually, but we do need the rain. Um, so as things are winding down, actually at the end of the summer, and you might actually have a sense of this going on in your own body and also in the environment. There's a little bit of like a quiet time at the end of the summer where usually this can be the hotter time or more stormier time of the weather time of the season, and it's great timing actually to do a really short, gentle cleanse or detox. I like to call it a reset. I think both of those words can be a little triggering, maybe even cleanse. So, in Ayurvedic terms, we try to keep this pretty simple, especially in the summertime. Living is fairly easy, right? As the song goes. So a summer cleanse should be similarly so, where it shouldn't take a whole lot of brain power. It shouldn't take a whole lot of work. If it's really hot where you maybe haven't been cooking as much. So cooking really isn't a big part of late summer um, cleanse. Instead, we're going to focus on really simple food preparations so that you can still enjoy summer um, and do a really gentle cleanse. So if you're new to the Ayurvedic diet, usually there's quite a bit of cooking involved. And the good news about a summer cleanse is that there's very little cooking because it's warm and we're feeling warm. And Ayurveda teaches us to balance with the opposite. So actually, what might feel more balancing is to have cooling foods to balance with the hot. And it can also be very humid and muggy, right? And so, soups don't exactly feel right, and, just warm foods in general. So, really going to be focusing on a very fresh, seasonal, seasonal food. So, I'm going to share my screen here in just a moment. Let me see if I can get that going. Okay, here we go. I'm such a teacher. That's who I am. So of course I have slides. Of course I have slides for you. But this is, if you're a visual person like I am, it's nice to look at something. If you're an audio learning learner, just sit back and listen. My presentation today is about delicious detox foods for gut health. And that might sound kind of fancy, but honestly, it's so simple. Very, very simple. So everyone, let's just take a breath together in through the nose and out of the mouth. Ah. Sigh that breath away. There's nothing complicated about this or difficult about this at all. So really, I'm just focusing on food today. That's my favorite topic. It's food. I love food. I'm a big foodie. And so I'm not an Ayurvedic purist per se. I do like to um, westernize a lot of Ayurvedic dishes, or I take Western dishes and I try to Ayurvedize them. I just made up a word, I think. So when we think of summer, you might think of fruit. Such a great time to enjoy all the bounty of the harvest. as fruit is coming into season. So focusing on fruit is a great place to start. It's actually traditional for an Ayurvedic fast to do fruit only fasts, where the only thing you're eating throughout the day, the only solid food, anyways, through the day that you might eat is fruit. And that is a great way to rest your system, rest your digestion, but still get in some nutrients so you don't get too tired, right? So we want a little bit of energy from our food so we can still continue with our day-to-day activities, but give our system a break. And then you can take a break on cooking completely. So I love smoothies for this. You can combine your favorite fruit, berries, pineapple, mangoes. I love tropical fruit. So I tend to reach for those. You can add your favorite mixer. You can use coconut milk. You can use oat milk. The only thing I don't recommend mixing fruit with is dairy milk. Um, Dairy milk in general is a little on the heavy side, which is not a bad thing. It's a very grounding food. However, it can be a little heavy. So fruit is on the light side, and when we combine it with um, cow's milk, that might make it feel kind of heavy and be heavy in your gut. So we want something really light and easy to digest. That's the whole idea of this fast slash cleanse is just to give your gut a break and give you a break. So blend up some fruit in a blender, make a smoothie, add a little bit of your favorite plant-based milk. If you'd like to, if you want, you can even add, if you want some extra omegas or protein, you can add hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. Those are all great for the gut as well, rich in fiber. Of course, fruits are rich in fiber as well. So, and maybe this is the way you start your day on a fasting day, is just with a simple smoothie and enjoying fruit or other smoothies throughout your day. On the bottom of the screen here, see that I've added an Ayurvedic tip, of course. That's why you're here, right? Is to get the Ayurvedic tips. I like to add a little bit of Ayurvedic spices to help with digestion. Fruit the energy of fruit is cold. And so if we add some warming spices, that can help some of us who tend to get a little bloaty and gassy with smoothies. If that happens to you, adding a little bit of cinnamon, a little ginger, or even cardamom can help with digesting all of that fruit. The great thing about smoothies is blended for you, but some of us, especially if you have a big cup of smoothie, that might hit your gut a little hard. So I also suggest when you're doing smoothies, make yourself a small glass of smoothies. So these are small portions, like a fruit, like a juice glass. And you can do those throughout the day whenever you're hungry. But what I would suggest is not doing the really large portions because that's probably going to be too much. So we can also focus on mindful eating when we're doing this fast. If you're going to choose to do a fruit fast. I love doing fruit fast. It's a great way to just take a break, give your whole system, brain and gut a break. And you can do that on any day, but traditionally in India, it's done with the cycles of the moon. So I think it's the 11th day and the 22nd day of each month is usually how it rotates. And that's a way to remember, like, oh, it's my fruit fast day is every 11th and the 22nd day of each month. So you can try that, or you can just do it whenever it's convenient, right? Maybe a Saturday or a Sunday when you don't have to go anywhere and you're just lounging about at home. Okay, next. Of course, salads. Yes, salads are probably on your plate with with the summer season already. So what can we do to make the salad even more gut friendly? Adding lots of different ingredients, not just lettuce, but you can add, thin strips of cabbage, red cabbage, radicchio. You can add a little bit of dandelion greens, which will help to cleanse and detox the liver and the blood. So, look for that in your grocery stores where you can get that organic. I don't necessarily suggest that you just pick it out of your lawn, especially if you're if you're treating your lawn. Um, Carrots or beets grated. If I'm going to do that, grating a little bit of ginger with that as well can be really great. Adding fresh herbs. This is a great time, especially if you're growing herbs at home. A little bit of dill, some chives, some parsley, some basil, whatever you have on hand, just chop it up in there. You can add toasted nuts or seeds and do lemony dressing with that. Um, and if you have sauerkraut, or if you don't, I highly suggest adding a scoop of sauerkraut to your favorite salad for a little probiotic boost. So this is not the vinegar sauerkraut that you find like in German restaurants or at the store. This is a lacto fermented sauerkraut that's usually refrigerated. So you can go to your refrigerated section at the store and see where they have all of their natural probiotic foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, so on and so forth. So to each salad, add a little scoop of your sauerkraut. You won't even taste it. You won't even hardly tell that it's there. I do that at home and my kids have no idea. Shh. Otherwise, if I were to feed them straight up sauerkraut that I make at home, homemade, no, it's sour, right? And that's not their favorite taste. Nourishing legumes. Legumes are a great whole food to add to any of your meals or salads. Add a scoop of cooked beans, lentils. Beans need to be cooked really well. Otherwise, they can give you gas and bloating. So cook them really, really well. If you're cooking them, cook them until they're like falling apart almost. And lentils cook really quickly. So lentils can be a go-to. I love a lentil salad. A really simple lentil salad is so, so good. So anyways, add your legumes because they are so rich in fiber and that is going to help feed your gut. Okay. If you are doing a lot of salads, remember that healthy fats are important to help digest all of that fiber. Otherwise, we can get some, if you like salads, but you get gas and bloating, you might add a really good oily dressing. Make sure there's plenty of that that will help you digest the fresh vegetables. And if it's still giving you gas and bloating, then you can try a salad of cooked vegetables, works perfectly fine. And maybe add a little bit of raw. Some people don't do well with like purely raw salads. I love to make dressing out of hummus. So if you have hummus on hand, you can add a little water and olive oil just to dilute it a little bit and give it some body and put that on your salad. If you eat dairy, you can also add some sour cream and herbs to make it kind of creamy. That's what I usually do. I usually have like the sour cream that has like the onion and dill sour cream in the fridge because my kids love using that for their veggies. Add that to hummus and a little bit of water and olive oil. And that makes an excellent dressing, an excellent dip, actually, in general, is combining hummus and sour cream and onion dip. All right, so legumes, do not forget legumes. They are very nourishing and grounding. And all vegetables are cooling when they are raw in general. So, like cucumbers and avocados and all that, you can't go wrong. Okay, and in terms of dressing your salads, as I said, it's really important to have a good oily dressing because those healthy fats are going to help you digest all that fiber. Here's my favorite go-to dressing. It's just a little bit of olive oil, a dash of apple cider vinegar, not a lot at all. Otherwise, you'll get a very sour tasting dressing, which I don't like. I like mine to be more savory, sweet-ish. So mine uses olive oil, apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of miso paste. That's what gives it this nice umami flavor. Same amount of miso as honey, some ground pepper, and then throw in some fresh herbs like dill, chives, or parsley. So I love using either miso or hummus as a dressing base. And I promise you will never have to buy salad dressing again because those two things will take care of a really, really tasting dressing for you. All you need is olive oil and some fresh herbs. If you have those on hand, you can use dry too. You might even add digestive spices like cumin, coriander, and fennel seeds. Those are all helpful with digestion. And again, adding olive or avocado oil will help with digestion. So don't forget a really delicious dressing because that makes a difference between a blah kind of okay salad to like a really delicious salad. All right, moving on. Fermented vegetables are important also to include because these, of course, are healthy for your gut. They're rich in probiotics. So they have these microorganisms that populate your gut. And so you're increasing the good gut bugs when you are consuming fermented vegetables. And like I said, all you have to do is add a little scoop on top of your salad or mix it in, and you won't even notice that it's there. Sometimes I'll make a coleslaw. My family loves coleslaw, homemade coleslaw, which is basically just green cabbage and maybe some carrot strips and or grated carrot. And then I'll add a scoop of sauerkraut to that, which is fermented cabbage. And you can't even tell. You can't even tell that it's in there and it's delicious. And yes, I use mayonnaise. My family uses mayonnaise, loves it. So we love that. We love a yummy homemade coleslaw. So you can find a variety of fermented vegetables now in the refrigerated section at your health food store, or it's becoming so popular now you can find it at Kroger's or more mainstream stores, certainly at Whole Foods. You can find fermented beets, carrots, all sorts of things. Cabbage is the most popular. If you love Asian food, you can try kimchi. Kimchi is very spicy, so you might not like that in the middle of the summertime if you don't want to sweat. So you can find white kimchi. And I have that on the next slide. But before I get there, um, I'll add the benefits of lacto fermented vegetables are rich in lactic bacteria that are in your gut. And it's those bacteria that help to keep your gut balanced and fight bad bacteria in your gut. So not all bacteria is bad. There's definitely good bacteria that is helping keep you healthy, basically, and prevent, get pathogens and viruses from getting into your gut. It's also rich in vitamins like vitamins B, C. Cabbage is naturally high in vitamin C, vitamin K, iron, and potassium. So it's really loaded with good stuff. Here's my white kimchi recipe. This is really simple. You can look it up on the internet and find a recipe that you like. Basically, you're using Napa or Chinese cabbage. Excuse me. Hang on one sec. Okay, I think I'm back. So instead of regular green cabbage, look for Chinese Napa cabbage. It's really delicate. It has a delicate taste. You're chopping that up and using that instead of sauerkraut. And I'm not going to go through that whole process because it's a thing. It's a process. It's pretty easy. Sauerkraut is extremely easy. It's basically just green cabbage, salt, a little bit of water, and thyme. That's it. Not thyme as the herb, like thyme as in wait a couple days and you'll have sauerkraut. So kimchi is like the next level. If you're new to fermenting vegetables, I would start with sauerkraut and then make your way up to kimchi. But kimchi is great because you can add daikon, carrots, scallions, ginger root, even garlic. Very tasty. And then you just skip the spice in the summertime so you don't have that, you don't feel like you're overheating. Um, okay. All right. Moving on. Quinoa is a great summertime grain. If you do eat grains, it's really light. It's nutty. It has this great, like light, nutty taste and light texture. So I love that's my go-to grain in the summertime, and I like to make a bowl with it. So I might maybe I take a scoop of quinoa and just put it right on my salad, or I build a bowl around the quinoa, adding like slices of avocado or cucumber, maybe a scoop of beans, just as what you see here. Whatever veggies you have on hand, right? So you can add a scoop of your fermented vegetables here, toasted nuts or seeds if you eat those. So lots of ways to make this really tasty. And then don't forget, again, just like with a regular salad, don't forget a really tasty dressing. And if you love a store-bought dressing, that's great. Go with your favorite store-bought or make your own. But please do not forget to make this tasty. I like to oil and salt all of my vegetables, whether they're cooked or raw, and that helps a lot with digestion. So add a little oil and salt, and that goes a long way. And then again, if you find you're getting gassy and bloaty with a lot of raw vegetables, add more cooked elements to your bowl or salad to make it more digestible, and of course, healthy fats to make it satisfying as well. That could be nuts or avocado, or a big drizzle of olive oil. Quinoa cooks up really fast too, which is nice. Here's one of my favorite tonics that I like in the summertime, an apple cider tonic where you're using apple cider vinegar. You're diluting a quarter cup in 4 cups. So it's very, very diluted. You can use even less than that. Otherwise, your tonic will taste really sour. So just a little bit of apple cider vinegar and 4 cups of water. I use a large mason jar for this. So that's 4 cups. And then I'm adding dashes of spices like cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and then a good drizzle of local unprocessed honey. I say 2 tablespoons. I probably use more than that. I love this. I love making this taste sweet, certainly. So, you can add that or you can leave it out if you're vegan. But this is a great way, like let's say you're doing a fruit fast. This is a great way, or any kind of fast, this is a great way to start your day, to have this, and maybe you're sipping it throughout your day, just as something to have in your system. It is also going to help um, kind of boost digestion, especially if you do find eating more like raw, fresh vegetables a little gassy. So having a little bit of apple cider vinegar throughout the day can be really helpful. And again, it's diluted. Here I see all these like Instagram people who are like shooting apple cider. I'm like, why? Why? Make it yummy. I'm gonna make it yummy, gonna make a big jar of it, and I'm gonna sip it throughout the day. Like, there's no need to shoot anything. People shooting like olive oil or like ginger juice or like I don't know why it needs to be that intense for some people. That's just not me. So if you're like me, you're gonna want something that like is like sweet and tastes kind of a little on the stimulating side. You can even use sparkling water in this if you like sparkling water, but maybe half and half sparkling water and regular water, especially if you don't like the bubbles. But yes, I like that a lot. In the summertime, you might find yourself indulging more with alcoholic beverages. I think that is, expected even here, especially here in Wisconsin. Um, Try sparkling mocktails, and take a break from the alcohol, especially on the day of your cleanse or fast. You can use sparkling water as a base if you like bubbles. If not, you can skip sparkling water, just use regular water. But I love to puree fruit and then mix it with different mixers, like different types of tea, honey, citrus. You can mix it with lemonade. I love that. That's really good. You can add rose hips, rose powder, fresh herbs. So you can get kind of like with your smoothies, you can get really creative like this. You can make like a no hito instead of a mojito. So you can use lime and mint and ginger and just skip the booze. And these are so refreshing. I love doing that. Maybe, at the end of your day, you can celebrate a little bit with a mocktail. You can also blend in some of your favorite Ayurvedic herbs like ashwagandha or turmeric, if you want these to be kind of herby, or that they can remain fruit forward, whichever you like. I really love adding a little bit of rose powder, especially to something that's like a pink lemonade or hibiscus tea, or maybe some pureed raspberries or strawberries. The rose powder in there is really nice. And rose, we use rose as an herb in Ayurvedic medicine where it's cooling and moisturizing. It's just perfect for summer. Rose is perfect. All right, let's move on. So let's go over these basics that we've talked about so far. I've talked about. Um, and it's basically we've been talking about ideas of a simple cleanse or fast even. I think fasting is most appropriate in the summertime because it's warm. We tend to not be as hungry, so it's easier to fast. You might choose to only do fruit. That keeps it really, really simple. You don't really have to think about cooking or anything. Maybe you're just blending some fruit together. You could do fruit juices, or just eat plenty of sweet, juicy fruits. Okay, that's what we want in the summertime. So think like melons, any kind of sweet melon that you can find, that's in season, cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon. Those melon is a great example. Certainly you can do apples and berries. They tend to be more sour and tart, so those usually need to be blended with sweeter fruits like grapes, are super duper sweet if you eat those. You can do something more tropical like bananas and mangoes. Just note that bananas definitely are on, if there was a scale of fruit between light and heavy, bananas are definitely on the heavier side. So you can save that when you're like the hungriest during the day. I love a non-alcoholic pina colada. So you can use banana and coconut milk and pineapple together, and that is delicious. And again, small portions, right? Because if you have like a huge portion, that's going to sit pretty heavy on your gut. So you can choose only veggies or fruits. If you do veggies, then that's like you could start your day with fruit, and the rest of the day is raw or cooked veggies and salads with a gut-friendly, oily dressing. And then, if you want, depending on how hungry you are, you could add a scoop of quinoa. You could add a scoop of legumes or toast some nuts and seeds for extra protein if you get really hungry. Um, Adding fresh dairy for protein as well is an option in an Ayurvedic cleanse. So you can add a scoop of yogurt. You could just enjoy a small bowl of yogurt with a little bit of honey and maybe some dashes of cinnamon. Remember to add those digestive spices. Cold dairy does tend to be kind of heavy on the gut, so I like to let my yogurt come up to room temperature before I eat it, and that way I can actually taste the yogurt. If you have really yummy yogurt, then let it come to room temperature, and that will actually improve its flavor. You can blend yogurt into your smoothies, or you can make a lassi. Lassi is one of my favorite drinks, which is just yogurt and water, honey, and maybe a little bit of spice like cinnamon or cardamom. It's so tasty. So if you haven't tried that, if you're going to do a smoothie fast, try a little bit of a yogurt smoothie where it's just yogurt and water and it's thin. It's a diluted drink. So it's not like the consistency of buttermilk. It's really quite light. That's really delicious, especially with some honey or maple syrup. Even adding a side of little cottage cheese or feta cheese to salads if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starving, right? Listen to your body, honor your body. If this is a big change for you, then, going without food and only eating fruit, then, be kind to yourself. Maybe for lunch, allow yourself to have a big salad with a scoop of, cottage cheese or something like that. And you can do fruit at the other meals. An option is to fast at breakfast time, even skip breakfast if you're not hungry, and to observe a fast, and or I should say, to observe a fast after dinner time. Whatever dinner time is, ideally earlier. On the earlier side, have an early dinner, whatever it's going to be, if you are going to eat. Um, and then just chill out the rest of the night and try not to eat after dinner and before lunch the next day. And that would constitute usually 12-hour fast. If you can go from dinner to breakfast, and that's about 8 hours, sorry, about 12 hours, then that can be a really good rest for your gut. So give it a try. Try to add a fasting element at some point during your cleanse, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, whatever is easiest for you. So that is the idea for my simple summer plant-based fast. Fairly simple, I hope. I like to give lots of options. Some people get a little intimidated by the idea of a cleanse or a fast. So it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like I say, make it simple and easy. It's summer, so it should be that. If you want, you can take my gut health assessment so that you can discern whether or not your gut needs a little more TLC. So you can take the quiz. There's a link here, but I will put it in the chat because clicking on that on your screen is not going to work. Um, a little bit about our online community called In Her Balance. I offer women step-by-step guidance for connecting with your body, connecting with your gut, and finding authentic ways to really care for yourself, whole body, mind, and soul. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating today. Again, I'll share this recording with everyone. And I'm going to stop sharing so I can put that link in the chat for the gut assessment if you're interested in doing that. And I'll open it up to questions now. I'm going to stop sharing. Um, okay. No, I'm done sharing. Okay. All right. Okay, putting that link in the chat and there it is. So you can pull that up on your screen. You can take the gut health assessment right now. And let me know if you have any questions. As you're taking that, you can respond to any email you get from me. But if no one has any questions, we're going to end it there. Here, let me come back on screen. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. And I hope got a couple ideas, inspired you a little bit. I never suggest anyone doing a cleanse full out, right? Like dip a toe in, try something, especially if it's your first time, and see what that's like. And if you find that to be a helpful practice, it's something that you can repeat every summer just to give yourself a break. You can choose a weekend where you don't have anything going on, or a couple of days, or even just one day, and see what it's like. And, fasting is a practice that is done quite often in Ayurveda, and it's something that we do as a preventative health measure so that we can clear toxins and we can clear our mind. It's really incredible how it can clear the mind when you just give your gut a break. It's amazing. All right, I'm going to stop recording. Thanks again for joining me. Questions, let me know, and I will see you next time.